for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's up guys, Venom Fire here, back on the video, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another Guntrips tight end scheme. This is going to be a fully updated scheme on the Guntrips tight end formation, the best playbook to run it out of, and the best plays and setups for the end of the year. A lot of you guys have been telling me to make an updated one. Again, a lot of these setups in the other videos are out of date, so we're going to get all of the new best setups and all that good stuff. Before we get into the video, as always, make sure you smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support me, show me rather, that you are enjoying the videos and you want to see some more content. But going back to the point, we're going to be going over the Guntrips tight end formation. Still one of the best in the game, if not the best, and we're actually going to be in a new playbook than what I traditionally run. Lately, the new meta, the best way to run trips tight end is going to be out of the New England Patriots offensive playbook. That's for a big reason. Mainly, the biggest reason is going to be just because of this play in the middle, that 45 quick base. Now, I actually did make a separate video just on that play. That's how good it is. So we're going to be running Patriots. It really doesn't lose much. There's one play difference, and that's going to be X spot, which you can really recreate with Hot Route Master, which is what we're going to be using today. So we will be using Hot Route Master. But as far as the plays I'm going to go over, here's a look at my audibles. We got PA shot wheel, 45 quick base, curl flat, PA counter go, and then maybe I'll throw an inside cross at the end. Not sure about that, but I did make a separate video on that not too long ago as well. Anyways, with that being said, let's hop straight into it. Alright guys, now I'm actually going to start out with what I think is the best play in the offense. That's going to be curl flat. Now, we all know some of the traditional stuff. I'll go over it for a little bit. Those same setups that I've talked about before. I'm going to spend the most time on all of these new setups that I have not talked about before, but for now, we'll go over some of the basic stuff. The first way to run this is just to go ahead, drag B and smart route A. As always, you got this little shorter corner route that's going to be pretty good in getting in between the zones. Not only that, but also beating man coverage. Again, you have this little drag threat, and as always, the check and release angle that makes this play what it is and how good it is. Of course, curl flat on that other side. Right here, we're just going to take the check down. You see overall just a solid play. It's not only a play that is very successful, but it's something that you can quick snap and catch someone off guard. All you have to do is really 2 adjustments, and it's something that you can get off without Gunslinger, because all you really have to do is 1 drag and 1 smart route, and that means your quarterback, I believe, does not have to make any animations or pointing animations where he's going to point at the center, whatever the heck he does, or rather point at the left because it would be a drag hot route. But again, as long as you make those hot routes before you get to the line of scrimmage, you can just drag B. Again, smart routing technically doesn't count as a hot route, so that's why you can actually quick snap while doing that. So again, I can get to the line, I can quick snap him, catch him in between whatever coverage he's in. Right here, we're going to check it down, but yeah, overall, just a solid setup. You guys should know that one if you run a lot of trips tight end, a lot of curl flat. I'll show it one more time here. And I'm just going to hit Y on that little check down. Chris Godwin, solid little curl flat. We all know the deal with curls, very solid this year. That this won't be the last that you'll be seeing in this video. But curl flat, let's hop into another way to run this. And the next way to run it is going to be using some motion. What we're going to do here is block a running back. We're going to streak A, smart route B, slant X, just like this. We have a stock flat. We're going to utilize Scotty Miller's route as actually a deeper crosser. And then we're just going to put Evans on that little slant, motion him across. We have a nice little high-low read, just a couple of different routes here. We're going to hit Mike Evans. We have the backside flat. We have the streak over the top, depending on if he gets a little bit too adjusty. But overall, this is just a solid, sound setup. Again, it's not the best, but it does work. And you can definitely catch people off guard. With how many good setups there are in trips tight end, you should really never have to run the same setup too many times. So here you see that crosser. It's important that you do smart route it, because if you don't, it's going to go a little bit too deep. And right there, when you smart route it, it gets in a pretty good spot in between the zones, as seen in that example. Just going to run it one more time here. And of course, you can add a playmaker threat. If I had X with a slant on a playmaker, that could be something that we do. But overall, just a solid setup. Puts a little bit of stress on the user, and sometimes that crosser can use zone drop adjusted curl flats or flats. Anyways, let's hop into our next setup with this play. And our next setup that I like to run with this play is going to be using even more motion. Now, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and drag B, I'm going to smart out A. This is going to be kind of a similar setup to what we did in that first one, but all I'm going to do differently is actually put Y on a cross. Now, the reason I do that is because I'm going to motion him across. The last thing you do is put X on a deep post. So here's a look at the setup. Overall, it's pretty solid. Now with this, I could go ahead and put block RB. That's something that I probably should have said. And not only do I have to, could I block him, but also I would even go as far to put him on a little table route. So overall, the full setup is probably put RB on a table, smart route A, drag B, cross Y, and put X on a deeper post. Again, this is a very hot route master heavy play and setup, but it is a pretty solid play. One of the best setups. I don't believe I've talked about this setup. If I have, not for too long, but you're going to motion the crosser over. You got to flat, you got to drag. Again, with the drag, usually you're going to playmaker him, but that goes back to the point where I could just block my running back if I already have that drag and I don't have playmaker. So again, that would be the first way to run it, and the second way would be to just run it like this. Of course, if you're in a 2nd and 5 situation, you can always smart out that deeper post, but it's just a solid little setup. This crosser is going to really get across that zones. It does take a while. The reason for that is your trips are already on the wide side, so when you motion them across, they're going from wide to short, and then they have to run all the way across. But this is just a little quick beater that would be good against man coverage and things of that nature. I'll show it one last time here. Again, if I really wanted to, I could always do something different. I could hitch B, or I could even, flat him or put him on an out route just if I wanted that table route. You see how the table route does a pretty good job with that specific corner route just because it pulls it up. You saw the same thing happening with the drag. But anyways, with that being said, let's hop into our next play, which is going to be the PA. Anyways, let's hop into our last setup for curl flat. This is going to be another new one, and this is actually the one I wanted to bring you guys the most out of this play. This setup is very, very dangerous. What you're going to do, smart out A, you're going to put RB on a ghost route. Now, ghost routes, very uncommon. You rarely see them in any scheme, but we're going to bring them out today. They can be very deadly, especially when you consider a double Mabel or a double flat meta. So you're going to go ahead, smart out A, ghost your running back, and then you're just going to hitch B. Now, you can run this a couple of different ways. I could mix this in with the crossers. I could do a lot. But this is just a very solid play, especially if you struggle with making a read. This is going to be one of the easiest plays to make a read on right here. Ghost route, wide open. This isn't even a double flat. This is just a stock coverage, excuse me there. But yeah, this is one of the easiest plays to make a read on. Against man coverage, it's going to be good. You have the hitch that should be open. The curl should be open. The corner out, I would say it's mainly a zone coverage beater. You don't really see too many people running man coverage these days regardless, but it's just good spacing. You spread out the field a little bit. You make a read. And again, you can add to whatever plays you want. Add to my setups. You can always change them a little bit to your liking, just like here. But you see, very deadly. Of course, I can kind of playmaker him outside. If I had B on, or if I had playmaker on B, I could always playmaker him back inside. But that's just one of the better setups I've seen. And again, I could even mix it up by going with something like this with the ghost route. Maybe I just streak A, put RB on the ghost route, snap it like this, and there you see he can either be open because the crosser pulls him up, or he can open up that crosser as he did right there. But with that being said, let's hop into our next play, the PA shot wheel. Here we are in our next setup, which is going to be the PA shot wheel. Now, for our first setup, what we're going to do is something pretty simple. We're going to, again, use some hot route master, but I'm just going to flat A, flat Y, put RB on a Texas route, and then cross B. So here's a look at the setup. I'm in the incorrect play, of course. Anyways, guys, here we are out in our next play, which is going to be the PA shot wheel. This is a pretty solid play. Now, you will, again, probably recognize some of these early setups that I'm running, but for our first setup, what we're going to go ahead and do is smart out X, we're going to flat Y, we're going to flat A, and then we're going to cross B and put RB on a angle route, aka a Texas route. Here's a look at the setup. Pretty solid. You just get, again, good spacing. You spread out the field a little bit. Here we got the crosser open. As far as man coverage, you're going to have the crosser, the angle, and that Z post or S post that are going to all be pretty relatively open. Again, I don't see too much man coverage, so that's why I'm kind of staying away from it. But again, as far as late play threats, you have this flat route that's relatively going to be open. Again, unless they're double flatting, which this play would be very solid against a double flat. The S post would be open. Again, depending on how deep they are, the crosser is going to be open, but the crosser's really mainly there just to draw attention. And even if it doesn't, the angle route will take the attention of the user away from that Z post, which is really what you want. Your objective is to kind of hit Mike Evans on this particular setup, and that's pretty much exactly what we're going to try to do here. I'm just going to fit in that low ball through a little bit early. That wasn't an inaccurate pass, but even if you can't hit Evans, he's going to draw a lot of attention of the defense. And you can, of course, switch up this route combo to your liking. Here, we're just going to wait a little bit, low ball, and you can kind of see how we would be open. For whatever reason, it's a little bit congested here, but trust me, that's a solid route. We'll go back to that. Now, as far as the next setup that we're going to go ahead and do, what I like to do here is I like to go ahead and post A. I'm going to hitch Y, slant B, and put RB on a table route. So here's a look at my setup. This is a pretty solid setup. It's similar to some double sail concepts. You would probably see something like this or this out of double sail. Not a terrible setup, but I think when you add this S post, it becomes even better. Not only can it take away the attention of the user once again, but against man coverage, we all know the drill with that. Here you see that slant route getting wide open. Again, Brady with an inaccurate pass. Gotta love Madden. But overall, this is just a solid setup that you can go to. Again, this is something that you probably have not seen too much, or if you have, on a rare occasion. There you see the table route. Again, good spacing. That's what we want to use out of trips tight end. You want these little hitches that basically destroy a double flat concept, which is, again, what a lot of people do. They'll just throw it a stock cover 3 with double Mabels and hope for the best. These types of setups will be really good against it. Here you see the post. I just got lurked. But again, the post mainly, again, they're against man coverage. Mainly there's a distraction. You're not really necessarily trying to hit the post route. If you do, again, you want to be careful because he's running from the short side to the wide side. So you can throw an interception just like I did right there. As far as some of the other setups that we can actually go to, something that I've done in the past is go with something kind of like this, where I put Y on a little crosser. I could actually block my tight end in this case, but I would just go with like the slant, the table route, and then I can put like a little backside crosser, so that we have the slant, and then we have the crosser going to the opposite side. This could be something pretty solid. Again, the slant does a good job of kind of spacing the field a little bit better. Of course, this would probably be better against man coverage, I will say that, but not the worst setup in the world. And again, we'll go back to some of the other stuff, but just show this briefly. This isn't a setup that I run a whole lot, but I did want to throw it in there just because I have run it on occasion, and it can be pretty solid at spacing the field or beating man coverage, things of that nature. Now, let's hop into another setup, one last setup here. We're going to go ahead, post A. We're going to actually hitch B. You can also hitch Y. I like to hitch B a little bit more. And then we're just going to put Y on a curl and table route RB, of course, smart out X. But this is just a little curl flat concept. It's going to be pretty solid here. We're going to throw the curl route wide open there. Again, good spacing, solid concept, and you can really just run it to your advantage. Again, hitch B, post A, flat RB, and curl Y. We're going to motion Godwin across, and then we're just going to go ahead, snap him a little bit earlier so that the post gets a little bit more space to actually be caught. Here, we're going to go ahead, throw it to A. Now, again, that's where you want to be risky. I did want to show that just because you'll see how the posts kind of run into each other. If that's an issue, of course, I could just block my tight end. But that's something that you do want to kind of watch out for. Anyways, with that being said, let's hop into our next play. Now, the next play that I'm going to go over is going to be the run, the quick base. Now, again, I have a whole separate video if you want to watch that, but the quick base is going to be very good to stop user gap shoot defenses. That's really what the best way to stop the run this year. So just running the base, you have that pulling guard. It's going to take away any gap shoot, specifically out of that 3-3-5 wide, and as well as the big nickel over G. You can also use some motion just to kind of confuse your opponent. You want to not just go out there and snap the ball. You kind of want to spend 10 seconds at the line of scrimmage or something like that. There you see, you just have a whole lot of space to kind of either be patient, go immediately, or really just do whatever you want as far as that's concerned. So again, the base, not only can I do that, but sometimes there is a lane to cut back. Fournette's not the most agile, but you see how there could have been a space or a hole for me to actually run through there. Again, that was some bad stick work. Even with the bad stick work, we pick up around 10 yards. But overall, it's just very difficult to stop. This is big nickel over G, and you see it's just getting torn up. Now, I'm not setting anything up on defense, but just against a stock defense that's pretty sound against the run, you see how it just gashes it. And again, with the base, I know trips is a passing formation. This is a run that you want to use at least double digits minimum a game. You want to run the base probably around 15 times a game, just because there's so much big play potential. Even without a big play potential, you're probably picking up at around 5 yards. You see, I've never lost yards really running this. It's very difficult to shoot. Now, I have kind of talked about defenses with this. I went over one video, but it's really complicated. You have to run just a ton of stuff. There you see, again, quick 15, quick 20 yards. And overall, one of the better runs in the game. Again, we're going to set it up, just kind of stop and go. We do get shedded there, which could potentially happen. It's less likely with safeties, especially with people running safeties. But yeah, just overall, solid run. And trust me, it's way better than the inside zone. Even with the inside zone, the only way you could really run it is to run it like this, where you had to just completely cut it back. Now you don't have to do that, and now you can just run it pretty much wherever you want. You could still, again, cut it back if you really had to, but I can just cut it completely outside, easy 5 yards. I can cut it inside. I can do, again, really whatever I want. And also, you do want to mix in some motion. I can just get a little quick motion here, snap the ball, and there we go. That opens up maybe a little bit of room. Just try different things, but just like any other run, you can do different things until it works. And this will definitely pay dividends later in the game, where maybe he thinks it's a passing situation, catch him off guard, things like that. But let's hop into the next play, which is going to be PA counter go. Now, PA counter go, not used as much, rather, just because you have a stock crosser, but you can literally just put B on a crosser with Hot Route Master, and it looks the exact play. This is what it looks like with the stock crosser, and then I put B on a crosser, and you see it's pretty identical. Now, there still are some good setups that I'll show. The first one's going to be like this, where I'm going to put X on a deep post. I'm going to post A. I could also cross A, but I'm going to post A, hitch Y. I could also, again, flat Y if I wanted to. I'm actually going to flat Y because that's been shown in this video to have better spacing. But what we're going to do is motion Evans over. He's going to act as our clear out right now. So he's going to be our clear out. Again, he's going to flip, of course. You're just going to kind of motion him over. This is actually a concept that I got from Strong Close, which was a meta a while ago, but you can actually probably recognize what it looks like. And it was one of the plays. I think it's like post cross. I honestly don't remember what it's called, but again, here's a look at the setup. Just deep post X, flat Y, table RB, and then go ahead motion Mike Evans across the formation. This is a new motion. I don't think we've really motioned Evans across. And then just snap him over there. There you saw the table route was open. Here you see Gronkowski open. And again, the crosser does a good job of pulling the zones to the right side. So a backside post can get open, and it can also be open against the user. Overall, not only can I do that, but I can, again, mix in this little ghost route concept. So I can easily go with something like this rather than the table route, especially against double flat. This will give him something to either have to user or man up, and it's going to take away one of the zones on the field. Here you see we just have so much space in the flat, even more than just the table route. And again, this is just stock coverage. This isn't even double flat. So you can see how it would be very dangerous. In all of these setups, I could easily sub out the table route for that ghost route. So I'll just run this setup one more time, and then we'll hop into something else. In the case that it is man coverage, I have the crosser that, of course, can get open. Gronk's going to get open. And then Evans can potentially get open. Again, his post is going to be a little bit better against 2nd and 5s, things like that, where you can actually smart out a little bit shorter, and then it's going to get that quicker cut. Now, you see how the crosser is not the best, as I'm not sure why my camera angle has changed, but of course you can't change it right when you do it. But as far as that crosser, the post is going to be a little bit better at getting open. Or not the post, the streak is going to be a little bit better. So if your crosser is not getting as much space as you would like, you can throw Evans on a streak, and it would pretty much work the exact same way. There we'll streak him, and now you see the crosser. He's going to have a lot more space. The post route kind of pulls the outside third actually inside, which is definitely not what you want. But overall, it's a solid play. Let's hop into some of the other things that you can do now. Now, as far as some of the other concepts that I like to go to, I'm going to, again, mix in a little curl flat concept. Just some basic stuff. We're just going to curl X. We're going to put RB on that ghost route again. Streak A. And just something like this. It's kind of similar to curl flat, but you have a crosser instead of that post route. It can be a little bit more successful. And you see how the crosser can get open. Again, PA counter goes not as unique. I don't have as many setups for this play just because we can just kind of create it out of every single other play. Of course, I can mix in things like this maybe. You never know. I could like put Y on a little smoke screen, put RB on a ghost. Just like some unique concepts. Something like this could definitely work. Now, what I should have done instead of that smoke screen is actually flatted him. I tried to do that, but I actually motioned him over before. But I'll show that setup again. Flat Y, ghost RB, drag A, curl X. Just something like this. That could work. Pretty solid. You're going to motion Godwin over. This will do a good job of opening up Fournette even more. Just motion him across, snap it there. Now I guess the flat is maybe a little bit worse. I didn't think he would do that. Maybe I snapped him a little bit too late. But overall, just a solid play. Again, you can check other videos if you want more setups with that play. But that's pretty much going to end the video there. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and peace. I'm out of here.